Actually, I got that wrong. Can we restart that question?
Yeah.
I totally got that wrong.
Okay, I will.
Hold on a moment. I totally got that wrong. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, it was so epic. I revealed the iPod and everything. I don't think you saw that before. Oh, man. Okay.
Hello, welcome back to the channel for another video of this series, Legends of Asphalt. Today we have here as a guest a person of many talents, actor, photographer, passionate about cars and racing games, an extremely talented caster whose work I greatly admire. I'm sure you all already know who I'm talking about, so welcome, Marv.
Hello, I'm so happy and excited to be here. I'm so excited to talk all things asphalt, and I'm just super excited to be interviewed. I've never been interviewed before, so this will be super fun.
It's an honor and a great pleasure to have you here, to be able to talk with you. And without wasting any time, let's go to the question. Okay. The question that I ask to all guests, that I believe it's a good point to start this conversation with you. So could you tell us a little about how your story on Asphalt franchise began?
Yeah, my first Asphalt game was actually Asphalt 6 Adrenaline on this iPod Touch right here. I still have it. It still works.
Oh,
And I had so much fun. It says it's out of space, but oh well. I absolutely love this game. This was my first Asphalt game on this iPod Touch. And ever since I played this game, that's where it all began. As soon as I finished Asphalt 6, I was like, there's got to be 5 more, right? So I went to the App Store, I got Asphalt 4, then 5, and then, of course, as the Asphalt games came out, I played through all of them.
mm-hmm. Oh, nice that you still have this. And you can still play it?
Yeah, it's a bit laggy, but I don't know if you can see, I have all 3 of the original ones. So I have 4, 5, and 6 as well.
Oh,
So
nice.
I play it every once in a while on this tiny little screen, and
Mm-hmm.
I believe I've made a couple of videos using this iPod to play classic Asphalt games.
Oh, nice. And then after Asphalt 6, from 7, 8, and now Asphalt 9 and Unite. Oh,
Absolutely. And I played all of them as soon as they came out on the App Store. I remember for Asphalt 8, I stayed up to midnight on August 22nd, 2013, and I bought it as soon as I kept refreshing the App Store over and over again. And as soon as I saw it, I played through it. And that was also my second YouTube video. On my channel, I have a video from August 23rd,
mm-hmm.
2013, talking about a review of Asphalt 8. I think it's private now because my voice was very different back then.
Ah.
Uh, but yeah, that kind of also started my YouTube
Hey
journey.
guys, what's up? It's me, Marv Gaming, here with another app review, and today I'm reviewing the very famous, acclaimed Asphalt series, the newest edition, Asphalt 8 Airborne.
Oh, well, it is like more than 10 years.
Way more than 10 years, and that scares me to think about. I remember making the 10-year video for Hey, what's up guys? It's Marf and welcome back to another Asphalt video. And today, exactly August 22nd at midnight, 10 years ago, Asphalt 8 was released. And I think it would be an understatement to say that it changed my life. Now, there was a big gap between when I made Asphalt 8 videos and when I came back and started making Asphalt 9 videos, but believe it or not, the day after the game came out on August 23rd, I made one of my first videos ever, and it was a first look review at Asphalt 8 Airborne. Now, don't know if I'm going to unprivate the video because it is a bit embarrassing. It is a 10-year-old video after all, but I did watch it again briefly just to see what it was like and what I sounded like. And I had a little tear in my eye thinking about the fact that it has been an entire decade since I made that video, and of course since Asphalt 8 came out. Now, for Asphalt 8, thinking, I cannot believe it has been an entire decade of my life, more than a decade of my life playing these games, and I've loved every minute of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is as you said, a big history.
Yeah,
And
I've played, after I played those, I played all the previous ones too.
mm-hmm. Oh, so nice. I started with Asphalt 9 and now Unite, and I never tried the others games, but I confess that I want to try.
They're so much fun. They're so crazy and action packed, and they're very focused on speed, which I really love. So it's not necessarily about handling, it's all about top speed, which I very much enjoy. And it also introduced me to the car that I drive today and my dream car, which is the Audi TT. That was
Oh,
where I saw this car, was in Asphalt. And so ever since then, I fell in love with the car. So thank you,
oh,
Asphalt, for introducing me to my dream car and the car that I drive today.
oh, nice. What a lovely story. And
It's
Asphalt,
a true love story.
oh, and Asphalt brought to you an opportunity that you might not have envisioned as a pet, becoming an esport caster. Can you tell us how you started on it and what this experience has been like for you?
Well, firstly, the experience has been unbelievable. I've been traveling the world at different tournaments. Last year was Barcelona, and this year for Cologne, I was in Poland to do casting. And I never thought that I would be able to travel around the world and talk about and yap about Asphalt into a camera with some really awesome people. It all started for me back when I saw the movie Speed Racer in 2008. I
Wow.
heard the commentators during the races, and I thought that would be really cool to do that. Of course, I'd like to drive the car. That'd be fun too. But I felt like telling the story as the race unfolded and being the person that puts energy into the crowd and into the broadcast was something that would be so fun and something that I thought I could do. And especially as I progressed through my YouTube channel.
Mhm.
And I believe it was back in 2021, ESL produced I guess it was a contest because they were looking for someone to be the next caster for Asphalt 9.
Mhm.
And I sent in my clip and they told me I won. And then a couple months later, I was at the Burbank studio here in my home city of Los Angeles doing the casting. And it was like a dream come true.
Oh, so nice and unexpected.
Yeah, very unexpected. It all happened like that. Like super quickly, the challenge was uploaded. I sent it in. A couple weeks later, they shot me a message. And then I was on my way driving to the studio for the first broadcast, and meeting everyone was absolutely incredible. And it felt like I finally was in the esports industry, which I've always wanted to be a part of. So that was a dream come true, like I said.
Oh, and as a caster, you have had the chance to meet and to work with many people and follow the performance of many players as well. I'm sure, looking back to your career as caster, several names stand out in your mind now. So, I can't help but think about asking this question. Among all these names, who would you highlight as player and who would you highlight as partner to work and why?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say for player, there is one name that always stands out to me, and that's Jägermeister. I first met Jägermeister back in Barcelona for the Asphalt Series 2023.
Mhm.
And what always stood out to me about Jägermeister was how humble he was about always making the playoffs, always going into deep runs into the tournament. But he was always so humble. He would always give so much respect to his fellow racers. And he also has a great sense of humor. I remember chatting with him during the media day in Barcelona, and we were having such a great time practicing a bit of Polish words and stuff like that. It was really, really fun. And he's just a great dude. In terms of talent, I would say there's two names that stand out to me. The first one is Lethal, who I just casted with for the Cologne finals. Something that I didn't know while watching Lethal was that he actually has tournament experience, but all the way back in Asphalt, I believe 4 and 5, he was playing competitively all the way back then, and since then followed all the way through to Asphalt Legends Unite, which I thought was awesome because a lot of sports and esports have people who are like the OGs or the legends, and I didn't know that Asphalt had that, but Lethal was a competitor all the way back then. So it was so cool to be with someone who was an Asphalt competitor all the way since Asphalt 4 and 5.
Wow, nice. We can see during your comments that you speak with the authority of someone who not only play Asphalt, but also other racing games, right? Which unite the franchises entering in a more competitive level with other games. Size if left the mobile segment for something else, something more bigger, I can say. It's reaching all platforms now and some environments. In your opinion, how could the Asphalt stand out and conquer its space in this segment that has many other options for players as racing games?
Oh, that's a great question. I think first and foremost, the biggest competitive advantage that Asphalt has right now is the sense of speed and the stunts. In no other modern racing game with real cars are you doing a barrel roll across the Golden Gate Bridge in a Lamborghini. You just can't do that in any other game. And I feel like Asphalt really needs to embrace that fact. It'll attract so many new players who look at racing games and say, well, why would I want to drive a car virtually when I can go outside and do that in real life? Well, with Asphalt, there's a lot of things that you can't do in real life. I wish I could, but unfortunately, I don't own a Bugatti and I don't have unlimited access to an empty city. So that is the first thing. I think the second thing is the presentation of the game. Throughout its history, Asphalt has been developed and published as sort of the competitor or the alternative to games like Need for Speed, but on the go where you can take whenever you want. I think Asphalt has sort of lost that a little bit. The graphics are great, but it's missing that extra spice. It's missing that extra polish that bigger AAA games have, like Need for Speed and Forza, whereas Asphalt doesn't really have that. You sort of have a menu and then you get right into the game. There's nothing else there. So I think Asphalt could improve maybe the presentation, make it feel more like a AAA actual big budget racing game rather than just a mobile game that you play for 10 or 20 minutes on your commute.
I agree. I totally agree with it. And speaking not only about racing games, but also about cars, which I know that you is passionate about it. Many people in community comments and ask about brands and that are represented in the game, but in other games, but not in Asphalt. Is there any brand that you would like to see on the game? I have something in my mind that I'm sure you will say, but let to you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious which one that we'll choose. But, you know, of course, I want my Audi TT in Asphalt. I've said this so many times. Gameloft, if you're listening, as soon as I see this car in the game, I will throw money at you as much as I can. But what's interesting is I'm not necessarily attracted to Audi as a whole brand. I just love the Audi TT, of course. But that is such a big part of not only motorsports history, but also the car industry as well. So I think it's just obvious to do whatever you can, Gameloft, to try and get Audi back into Asphalt. I think everyone would rejoice. Everyone would be happy. We saw what happened in Need for Speed when the new game did not have Audi. Then they added the R8 and I believe the RS6 Avant, and everyone went crazy. So that could be an opportunity for Gameloft. So that is definitely one brand that I want to see. The second brand might be a little bit weird, and some people might not have heard of it. But back in the older Asphalt games, Gameloft was not able to have a Porsche license because that was exclusive to Need for Speed. And so, in response to that, Gameloft added roof cars. So we had the Roof CTR3 and the Roof 3400K. And now that Asphalt has Porsche, we haven't seen a roof car, which sort of breaks my heart because they were a small manufacturer and Asphalt was sort of that confidence boost. It was something that I would have never heard about Roof if it weren't in Asphalt. And Gameloft loves to add all these weird niche cars like the Draco, and a lot of people haven't heard of Apollo before. I didn't hear about Apollo before Asphalt 5. Yeah, exactly. So these small manufacturers have this opportunity to get to a bigger audience with Asphalt, and for some reason, Gameloft just stopped adding Roof to the game, and I think we sorely need another small manufacturer like that.
A moment of nostalgia here.
Definitely.
And Asphalt Unite is today a pinnacle of this franchise evolution, I think. Over the years, what would you highlight as positive points in this evolution? And how could it evolve even further? What features or tools would you like to see in the game? I know that you are a very talented photographer, so I imagine that photography mode must be in the top of your list. I'm right?
Absolutely. I think the franchise, for me, definitely had a peak with Asphalt 6. Of course, it was the first game that I played, but it also introduced the adrenaline concept. You fill up your nitro bar, you click one button, and the entire game changes. You get a burst of speed. The entire track and car turns purple. It's a rush of adrenaline. And I think that Asphalt should incorporate more of those crazy elements, those environmental changing type things where you click a button or you do something in game and everything changes. Now, in terms of modes, photography mode would be absolutely incredible. I think Gran Turismo probably has the best one where you can load any track, you can place a car down, and you have tons of camera controls. And I think that would work so well in Asphalt, especially since with Legends Unite, they updated the lighting system and now
Yeah.
the game looks
Oh,
really, really good. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. On PC, I play on 4K and the game looks so awesome. And I think at the very minimum, I just want the ability when I'm replaying a race to go backwards. So when I miss a moment for a YouTube thumbnail or whatever it is, I don't have to replay the entire race over again
Yeah,
just to get back to
please.
that one moment. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every YouTuber knows exactly what I'm talking about. Even just that one button would change everything. But a true photography mode would also be awesome. And another thing that Asphalt 6 introduced was a live 3D garage environment where you can actually walk around an open space and place your cars in different spots. You could switch them out, change colors, do all that sort of thing. And with Asphalt Legends Unite, they said we were getting a new garage. And I thought, no way,
Wow.
they're adding the Asphalt 6 type of garage to Legends Unite. But it turns out it was just a fresh coat of paint. I think one of the coolest things about Asphalt is collecting cars. That's all we want to do is we want to collect
Yeah.
Bugatti, Ferrari, Lamborghini, all these cars, and we want to show them off. And so instead of scrolling through a list of cars where every car has the same picture, I would love a 3D environment where I can walk around and I could place my car somewhere. I can spin it around. I could open the door. Maybe I could open the spoiler up and down. I think that would be really cool.
Oh, nice. Seems a dream.
Definitely.
And finally, coming back to the caster, Marv, what do you expect from the future of the Asphalt tournaments as an esport? Now we have such a wide variety of the game mods and devices where it's possible to play. So, what to expect from the future?
Well, I think, at least in terms of what we can do as a community, that is where every esport developed. It doesn't develop from the game publisher, it doesn't develop from the tournament organizer. It always develops with us, with you. And now that we have private lobbies, we can run our own tournaments. For example, next time I stream, I'm definitely hosting 8-player tournaments. That would be so much fun. So I'm hoping that different clubs can maybe get together and start their own live tournaments. I'd love to cast some of those.
Oh,
And I think that is the next step is community grassroots driven esports tournaments. That I think is really going to change everything. But also, just as a quick note for the future, because we have more players, because we have more devices, what I want to see is Formula One style racing, where all the players are on the track at the same time. Don't you think it would be cool, like if you're in an arena in a tournament, and instead of having 2 people side by side, you have 8 people in one race?
yeah.
And sure, maybe there'll be knockdowns and crashes and all that, but wouldn't that
Wow.
be so cool? 8
Wow.
people, and you would have
Yeah.
like points. Exactly, a bracket, everything, but instead of just one player versus one player, because right
Uh-huh.
now, if one player gets knocked down, it's sort of one
Oh.
player by themselves. Instead, we could have 8 people crashing into each other. I think that'd be fun.
This idea gave us the possibility to go crazy. Oh, it will be really, really nice idea to give maybe to ESL people or even to GL, why not?
Exactly. They have so much to work with now, especially with the private lobby system.
Yeah, I totally agree. Marv, thank you for this fun conversation and for this opportunity, of course, to talk with you. I was really expecting this from a long time, so thank you for being here.
Oh, well, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to be on the show. I've watched all of the other ones. The Alex one was so fun, and I was so excited when you reached out to me to be on the show. I had an absolute blast, and I'd love to be back again soon.
Oh, I hope so. I'm sure that we have many other things to talk about. And thank
Oh,
you again for
absolutely.
coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, guys, this is all for today. Thank you, and I wait for you in the next video. Bye.